the Vancouver Whitecaps are in talks to sign a German legend.
Thomas Müller taken down beautifully. Thomas Müller, Bayern's outright record appearance maker, marks the occasion in style.
That is right. German superstar Thomas Müller may soon leave Germany for Vancouver. The CBC's Ben Steiner is reporting that there's a 2-year deal in place that will be signed on August 1st, and Müller could make his debut for the Whitecaps when they travel to San Jose on August 9th. The Caps have not yet confirmed the news, but Müller has won 13 Bundesliga titles with Bayern Munich, as well as 2 Championship League titles. He was also a member of the German team that won the 2014 FIFA World Cup. For some reaction, we have reached Peter Schaad, longtime commentator for the Whitecaps. Peter, good morning to you.
Good morning, Stephen.
First off, we're talking about one of the most decorated soccer players of his generation. How significant would the signing of Thomas Müller be for the Whitecaps?
It's incredible. I mean, first of all, you have no idea how many people have contacted me to say, is this real? Because, I mean, here's a guy who played, well, you listed off the accomplishments.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got Bundesliga titles, Champions League, World Cup winner. He was the 2010 Golden Boot winner at the FIFA World Cup. He spent all of his career, because he's a proud Bavarian, 25 years with Bayern Munich. There are a lot of Bayern Munich fans everywhere across the world, and that includes Vancouver. And so from so many standpoints, this is a statement moment in what has been just an incredible year for the Whitecaps. When you think about an ownership change announced somewhere around December, they had to hire a new coach. Then they go to this incredible run in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Mm-hmm. And now, on the cusp of finishing first in the Western Conference, if things go their way, they bring in a guy who is a serial winner in amongst a young group that is looking for precisely that kind of leadership. It's incredible.
The timing is kind of amazing, and it almost makes up for the loss of Alphonso Davies for the Canadian national team, doesn't it?
Well, it's, what's funny is that there is, I think, a link here, because one of the guys who helped sign Alphonso Davies is a fellow named Michael Gerlinger, and he was the guy who helped broker that deal. He was the number 2 guy at Bayern. He fell in love with Vancouver. So when he comes out every summer, I think, and takes an RV to the West Coast, as us Germans like to do. And so if Thomas Müller were to ask anybody, what's it like in Vancouver, British Columbia, I would not be surprised if Dr. Gerlinger put in a good word, because he just loved it here. And I think, that is one of the pulls for Vancouver, that it's just a beautiful city. And Müller has no kids. He's adventurous. He's going to turn 36. I mean, that's one of the big talking points in September. But here's a guy who wants a little bit of adventure. He didn't want to retire. And credit to Axel Schuster, because, this is precisely the kind of ingredient. 2 coaches told me previously, Stephen, in the Whitecaps organization, when a young player in North America sits down in that dressing room and looks around, who does he look up to? Yeah. And maybe that was a bit of a complaint on their parts, that maybe the DPs weren't coming to the city the way maybe they wanted, and maybe the way some of the fans wanted right from the very beginning in 2011. Well, this addresses that, and he's a guy who can be very serious at sometimes. He can be fun, but he is one of the most intelligent players ever.
Well, and as you say, I mean, young players sitting on the bench, we're looking for a role model. We'll certainly have found one in him, but that also describes, the Whitecaps are in many ways a very, very young team, a lot of very talented, very young prospects on the team right now. Müller usually plays attacking midfielder. How do you think Jesper Sorensen is going to be using him on the team?
Well, the funny thing about him is that he has always been extremely unconventional, and it's impossible to actually put him into a box of a position, because his thing is the game intelligence takes him to where the ball is going to be. How you describe that, I don't know. Some people say it's a 10, maybe he's an attacking, inside winger type player, but the advantage for Jesper Sorensen is that he doesn't now have to rush in Ryan Gauld, who is still recovering from his injury, and ideally, both of them are fully up to speed by the time the postseason rolls around, and I'm sure that's what the Whitecaps are hoping for.
Yeah, that would be nice to see Gauld back on the pitch, because a lot of us have certainly missed him. And Müller's experience, I mean, developing younger players, how significant is that going to be?
I think it's absolutely massive. And I think the best thing the Whitecaps have done, and this is the biggest thing from now through 10 years ago, is that they have somehow added background checks on character to their recruitment, because the recruitment has been excellent. I mean, on the field, it's been excellent. But off the field, you get a sense of a highly committed, professional, and just willing group that wants to learn, wants to improve, enjoys each other's company. There are no distractions. And now you get this guy who can take some of the media attention away, be lighthearted, but sometimes, he can also be prickly. And we saw that in the World Cup in Qatar, where, he was one of the players who challenged Hansi Flick in their really poor showing at that tournament.
What, if anything, does this signing mean in the context of the Whitecaps potentially looking for a new stadium?
Yeah, it can't hurt. I mean, I mentioned, I bet you there's 10,000 Bayern Munich fans in this city, and I'm sure that a lot of them are going to want to come to at least one game. So now I think the stadium's going to be buzzing from August on. But I haven't heard anything beyond what we knew initially about the idea of a stadium in the fairgrounds of the PNE.
Yeah.
But I just don't see how it can hurt. Like all of a sudden the spotlight is on the Whitecaps again, and people are just going, how did they pull this off? Why Vancouver? Why did he choose Vancouver? There must be something good happening. All those are really great things.
Peter, great to hear you this morning. Thank you so much for the time.
My pleasure, Stephen, anytime.
Take care. That's Peter Schaad, who is a former commentator for the Vancouver Whitecaps.